Right, let's try that again. Apologies, hardware failure there. The computer failed to recognise the camera halfway through streaming. Welcome to the weekly Purple Penny coin news video. My name's Mark. I own and run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine in the northern suburbs of Adelaide. The Purple Penny is a bricks and mortar and online coin dealer. The coin shop itself is having its 4th birthday in a couple of weeks. We've been doing these videos for about 3 years, and we try to do them every day, every Monday at about 12 o'clock Adelaide time. Computer systems and software problems allowing, of course. And it is just a good reminder that the Purple Penny, while we strive to be as professional as we can, it is just me and Catherine and Jared, who is our employee who comes in here a few days a week. We do everything. There is no behind the scenes team. There's no investors. We don't have an IT support company. We don't have a marketing company. It is just us. And I guess the reason why I bring this up is that we do make mistakes. There's no doubt about it that Catherine and I make mistakes. I guess what we do that is a little bit different to everyone else is that we own them, we own up to them, we own them, and we do our best to address them. So in the last few weeks we've had a couple of reviews come through, and I thought I'd just share those with you. And these days reviews are the lifeblood of any business. It is very easy to leave a positive review or a negative review, and because of that they are the lifeblood of a business. A very large percentage of people that visit a business do check out the reviews first. So here's a couple of reviews. One's a good one. It's a gentleman that we bought a collection from, Grant there, who says we're pleasant and polite, happy with price for coins traded, we'll definitely do business with them again. It's very difficult to get reviews from people that you buy collections from. There's no getting around the money side of things, and I guess the feeling that if you are selling to a dealer that you do have to sell and allow them to make a profit. But Grant was lovely to deal with, and I hope to see him again. I know he's got other things, and I do hope to see him again because it was a very smooth and pleasant transaction, and that is how we like all of the transactions to happen in here. Now, the second review there is a bit harder to understand because whoever has left it has created a new Google account and left exactly one review, and it says they are not as good as they look. Now, Catherine and one of our friends did have a laugh this morning because if we're as good as I look in these videos, we look pretty terrible, and perhaps I'd be better off doing these videos with a bag on my head. But reviews like that, while we do accept that we get them, they aren't very helpful to us because we don't know what we did wrong to that gentleman, and we can't address that problem, which makes us a little bit sad because I like to know what we've done wrong and how we can fix that up. Now, I will just give you an example of something that went pretty wrong with us last week. We had someone who had put their name down for the Vietnam C Mint Mark aluminium bronze coins. We'd communicated that with them, that they were here ready for them to pay for. We hadn't heard from them, contacted them via text message, and we missed their reply on the text message, and as a consequence we put those items back into stock, which we then let one of our other regulars have at release price because they'd missed out. So it was unfortunate that gentleman had come in here and we had made a mistake. There's no doubt that we had made a mistake, and over the weekend we have sourced some more of those coins at more than release price, and the gentleman has been invited in to pick those up. So if we do have an opportunity to fix up a problem, then we do so. When people leave reviews like that one there, then we can't really do much to make ourselves better. And the little saying there at the bottom gives you a good idea of what goes on here in the shop. We try to be like the duck. We remain calm on the surface and paddle like heck underneath. So while there is a bit of a happy, smiling exterior to everything that you see here, I can assure you that we are thrashing around in the background, trying to do the best that we can. If we don't, we do apologise, and we're always doing our best to fix up any mistakes that we do make. Let's jump into the news here. Lots of news this week. We'll be closed on Saturday the 13th of May. The shop will be closed. Adelaide Coin Expo, which we did talk about last week, is on, and the dates are there. Saturday and Sunday, October 7th and 8th at the Torrens Parade Grounds. Free admission, free car parking. There will be more dealers there this year than last year. I believe that the NSSA is putting a restriction on the number of tables that dealers can have to allow more dealers to attend. Will be a good show. If you're able to come along, please do so. Catherine and I went to an art and craft show in the Torrens Parade Grounds on the weekend because it has been renovated. It looks very nice in there. It's much better in there now than it was previously. Next item on the news. If you watched a few weeks ago, I talked about two English gentlemen who had tried to sell metal detecting finds illegally. Of course, in England, if you find find coins and gold that adhere to certain criteria, you actually have to give them to the government, and then the government will declare them treasure, and then you get to share the proceeds of the sales of those items if they are declared treasure. So these two gentlemen tried to sell 40 Anglo-Saxon coins that were worth about £750,000. Now, closer examination of those coins has actually led to historians re-evaluating what's going on in Anglo-Saxon Britain. Now, you've probably heard of Alfred the Great, who is considered to be the first king of all of Britain, and one of his allies, one of his supposedly minor allies, who is merely a footnote in history, King Ceolwulf II, who was the king of Mercia. He is supposedly was a minor ally of King Alfred, and in fact, the history books suggest that King Alfred actually took over most of Mercia. Now, a few of the coins that were found in this very significant hoard actually bear dual portraits of King Alfred and King Ceolwulf. And now historians are saying, well, if King Alfred took the time to either mint or allow to be minted coins that had the dual portraits on them, then there's a good chance that King Ceolwulf II was more than just a minor ally and more than just a minor player in early Anglo-Saxon Britain. So historians are looking back and perhaps re-evaluating what the history books say. As always, history is written by the victor, but coins being the wonderful little historical artifacts that they are, we can look back on them now and say, well, you know, perhaps the propaganda that King Alfred and his descendants propagated isn't entirely true. So really interesting find there from what is essentially a bunch of stolen coins. Now, if those coins had been sold illegally and disappeared, then there might not have been that opportunity for English historians to evaluate King Alfred's reign and his allies. Another interesting coin that is in the news this week is from the town of, hang on, let me just make this a bit bigger so I can read it, from the town of Dunfermline, which is a town in Scotland. Now, Dunfermline is a town of about 50,000 people, and interestingly, it just received its official royal status as a city from King Charles III at the end of last year. In celebration of his coronation, which I think is this weekend, they are displaying a coin that was found in a field in 2020 near Dunfermline. Now, Dunfermline has a very old city. It's well over 2,000 years old, and at one point was the seat of the Royal House of Scotland. This little silver penny here was issued by Scottish King Malcolm IV. He was only the second Scottish king to issue silver coins. Dunfermline was actually his royal seat at one point, and this coin is quite special because only 5 of its type have been found. So if you happen to be in Dunfermline, this is available to view in, I believe, the town hall. And I wish I could go and have a look at it because it's a very interesting historical artifact, again showing you what coins add to history. Thank you to Greg Gibbons for sharing this story with me. A coin and bullion dealer in America, in Texas, has reported losing a lot of coin and bullion They contacted the US Post Office to figure out what was going on. US Post Office wasn't very helpful, so this coin dealer has taken it upon themselves to report any graded coins that were lost in the post as stolen, which NGC and PCGS allow. With persistence, they have actually managed to get the USPS to start an investigation into these stolen items, and it all came to a head when a collector bought a graded $5 coin, which you can see there. NGC graded $5 coin from a coin dealer in Texas. He went to put that coin into his registry set on the NGC website, and it was flagged as stolen. That allowed the USPS and the Numismatic Crime Investigation, it's NCIC, it's a not-for-profit organisation in America, to go to the coin shop where that had been bought from. The coin shop had records about who they'd purchased that from, and it's all come back to a mother and son. The mother, who was working in a mail distribution centre in Texas, she was stealing valuables out of the post, coin, bullion, phones, electronic items, all sorts of things. And then her son was hawking them around various places in Texas. Now, the son has actually died. He was died while he was in custody for theft of other items. The mother is actually in custody at the moment, and is looking at a lengthy jail term plus seizure of assets. So, you know, that's one great use of graded coins and the extra services that companies like NGC and PCGS offer. Of course, it doesn't help you if people crack the things out of the slabs, but you know, it always pays to check the serial numbers on graded coins when you're buying them because of that. Let's have a look at some questions here while the video is still up. Hey Ogie, hello Daryl, hello Alison, hello Ben, Brett, Sandra, Andrew, Peter, Tanya, Antonius, Mark, Brandon, Daryl, Gwen, Greg, Peter, Samantha, Phil, and there's a bunch of other people there. Apologies if I've missed you there. Sandra says she's learnt that from watching Vikings. Look, Sandra, I'm exactly the same. I've learnt a lot of what I know about British history from watching Vikings and the Lost Kingdom, and also Time Team episodes. Time Team was an archaeological program that used to be on the TV. Just a little thing here that we got sent by one of our video viewers. It looks like the Mint has incorporated a capture process in the RAM queue. It seems to happen at various times and randomly when you're in the RAM queue, just asking you to prove that you are actually a human. That's an interesting thing. I don't know whether it's new or not, but an interesting way of trying to get around bots buying things in the RAM queue. So if you have noticed that and you've been in the RAM queue, I wouldn't mind hearing from you via Facebook message, just explaining to me when you see those items, because Catherine and I were trying to understand how that was working. Right, last news item for the day. Peter Andrews, who is watching this video now, has released a new newsletter called Independent Coin News. Peter is a very well-known Australian numismatist, has been in the industry for many decades, is retired now, but is spending his time in retirement creating what was a most impressive first issue of a newsletter. I was expecting a few pages, but it ended up being 50+ pages of fantastic information. If you are interested in doing a bit of offline reading, then I do encourage you to either head over to independentcoinnews.com or the Facebook group Independent Coin News and subscribing to that, because it is well worth a read. It is free. There is some dealer advertising in there, including from us, because we provided Peter with a little bit of support. So please do sign up for that. Right. Topic of the day is question and answer. So question and answers, I try to do these once a month, where I just allow people to ask questions and I do my best to answer them, or at best postulate wildly as to the answers, or wild speculation, or whatever you want to call it. So I've got a couple of questions here that were left over from the last video, which I thought I would address first. What can you do to prevent coins tarnishing when they're still in the original packaging? If they're still in the original packaging, really the only thing you can do is store the coins in a temperature and humidity controlled environment. So for me, that is at worst a sealed plastic tub with moisture absorbent pads in it, and change those pads as frequently as you can. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the time there's nothing you can do about it because the mint creates reactive packaging, and your coins are going to tarnish in some packaging regardless of what you do, and you sort of get some knowledge over time about what issues in what packaging are likely to tarnish. So if you just excuse me for 1 second, I'll just grab something and show you one example of that. This is a Masterpieces in Silver set from 1993, sealed, still in the shrink wrap. You think, fantastic, still in the shrink wrap. Trouble is that the vinyl on the outside of the coin cases deteriorates and sticks to the inside of the plastic, regardless of how you've stored it. So that's an example of packaging the mint has created that actually degrades over time, and there's nothing you can do about it. Another example is the 2004 proof set. There is something in the glue that holds the hologram onto the dollar coin that causes that coin to tarnish, and there's nothing you can do about that either. But rule of thumb, sealed plastic container with moisture absorbing pads, and ideally as stable a temperature as possible. Now, I will just jump into another question that someone asked me this morning about the same thing, which is storage of mint product in cards and proof sets and mint sets and things like that. Same answer, sealed plastic tubs, temperature controlled, moisture controlled, not in cardboard boxes. Cardboard boxes don't control temperature or humidity as well. Also, vermin can get into them. They can eat their way through the bottom corners and get into your stuff. So definitely plastic containers for me. If you are in a humid environment, then definitely moisture absorbing stuff. If you do have temperature variations, then try to keep it in the house where the temperature is a bit more stable. Sometimes the garage isn't the best place, and certainly the garden shed isn't the best place. I'll just have a quick look to see if there's any questions here I can answer. Sydney Opera House coin release date. Don't know, Samantha. It is on indefinite hold at the moment. As soon as we know anything, we'll let you know. Any other questions here? Mike says that he always fails the capture test. Mike, I knew you were a robot. I knew it. I knew it. You've just proved it to me. I think that's about it for the questions in the comments there. So we'll jump to the next question here. Why does the mint have an embargo on the coins? Now, there is a couple of reasons that I can think of for that. Firstly, they want to control the marketing for their products. So that means that they want to control when press releases happen and things like that. So for example, they may well have press releases ready to go the day before release in the hope of getting national press coverage. And if a small coin dealer happens to leak information out, or it spreads around on social media, then they lose any impact that they might have. The other reason might be because the coins aren't always released, and we just talked about the Sydney Harbour Bridge release. So if we are talking about what the Sydney Harbour Bridge coin looks like and things like that, then it gets cancelled. Again, they look stupid. The other reason is just to build anticipation, and at the end of the day, it is their product, and they get to determine when the marketing materials are released and things like that, and we just have to follow along. Now, I know it is frustrating for collectors because they do not to know what coins look like before they're released, but they're the cards we've been dealt, and we just have to learn to play with them. Next question. How best to document a collection for insurance purposes? Great question. Now, I'm not the best person to answer that. Your insurance company is. They will give you a good idea of the information that you need to keep track of so that you can make a valid claim. I do suggest that you keep track of the purchase price and take a photo of the items and keep a record keep the receipt. Now, how you track that information is up to you. I do it all in a spreadsheet because I've used spreadsheets my entire life. I'm sure that there are apps and things like that out there that you can do it with. I have no idea what they might be. I don't like using apps on my phone. I find them much slower than using stuff on a computer. I like using Excel because you can track whatever you like. My only issue with apps is that you are controlled by the data fields that they present to you, and a lot of those apps are from countries other than Australia, and perhaps the data they collect isn't necessarily perfectly aligned to Australian coins. But as I said, the best thing to do is talk to your insurance company. A, find out if they cover coins, and then B, make sure that you've got all the information that they want to be able to make a valid claim. Samantha says, are you getting the Emperor Penguin coloured proof? Yes, we're getting almost none. Almost none. Even it's a number so small, it is hilarious. It's not even worthy of mentioning how many we're getting. We did apply for as many as we could get, and we got almost none, which is really helpful for us. There's a question here about the hype of Vietnam coins. Monica, I will talk about. Someone did ask a question about that. Right, so that's the question here. Now, someone did ask a question on the Facebook post this morning. Do I believe that the current $2 market is a bubble? Now, I don't know, because a bubble, those of you who don't know what a bubble is an economic pattern where the price of items rises very quickly, usually due to psychological reasons, and then the price drops rapidly afterwards because of a change in the psychological conditions of the market. The first known market bubble, observed bubble, is the tulip crisis in Holland in the 1600s. So the trouble with a bubble is you don't know it's a bubble until the prices have dropped. So you can't say that the $2 market is a bubble because the prices haven't necessarily dropped yet. But I will just read you what the definition of a bubble is, and then you can decide. So a bubble is created by a surge in prices driven by exuberant behavior in the market. The prices of assets far exceed the intrinsic value of the assets. So I'll say that again. A bubble is created by a surge in prices driven by exuberant behavior in the market. Asset prices exceed the intrinsic value in the market, intrinsic value of the assets. So colour me purple, but that does sound like what's going on with the silver $2 coins at the moment. And if you want to see what's going to happen with that, someone at the moment has a PR70 Vietnam silver coin up on eBay for, I think it's up to $4,000 or something. And Catherine was having a good old chuckle last night because there are now 7 or 8 of them in the population report. So a whole bunch of people have sent their silver $2 coins over to the US, express to PCGS. A significant percentage of the graded coins, I think it's about 25%, have graded PR70. So that first person that's going to pay $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 for their PR70 is going to lose their money because the price will drop very quickly. There is exuberant behavior, the price is driven up, supply will be found not to be limited, the psychological conditions of the market will change and price will drop rapidly. Now, is that going to happen with the $2 as a whole? I don't know. As I said, bubbles are only observable in retrospect when the price has dropped. And at the moment, the price is up there still. But, perhaps come back and talk to me in 5 years or 10 years. I think that is it today. Sandra says, I've seen people selling boxes of whales and penguins. No wonder we can't get any. Now, we got a reasonable number, Sandra, but as you know, we have hundreds of people that want to buy these things from us, and we make sure that everyone gets a small number, as you will get from us. And that means a lot of the time that we don't have any available to sell in bulk to people who walk in off the street. And in this case, that's one of those things. And we wouldn't sell them in bulk anyway. If we had enough stock, we'd be probably happy to sell 1 or 2 to people, but we just didn't get enough to make it happen. Brandon says it sounds like a bubble to him. Samantha says a lot of people think the $2 coins are better, but I love all the coins. Thank you, Samantha. Peter says that the coin is only just worth grading in PR70. Yes, that's right. And Sandra says that she'll wait for the price to come way down. And I think that's about it. Now, I do apologise for the hiccup in the start today, but I can't control computer stuff. It just does what it does. Thank you everyone for posting up questions in the post I popped up on our Facebook page this morning. It is really appreciated. If you are dealing with us and we do something you don't like, please do tell us what it is. We do always try to make ourselves better. We want everyone to have a good experience, and we want to have a good experience. And as I said earlier, it is just me and Catherine and Jared. There isn't a big team here. If we make a mistake, we want to fix it and make it better. And you know, perhaps talk to us before you leave a negative review, because we do strive to make it better. All right. Thank you everyone. I do really enjoy doing these videos. I really enjoy the interaction that we have with our video viewers. We love it when people come in here and tell us they've been watching our videos and they found them useful, because you know that's really the only reason we do it, is because people get some enjoyment out of it. Take care. Happy collecting. Okay, remember it's collecting and not investing, and we'll see you at the same time next week. Bye for now.